Welcome, welcome. Good evening, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the Friendly Counselor Live. We are back. I'm back now, this time around with a co host. And I'm so excited. And we have a great show for you tonight. And I will allow my co host, to introduce herself, tell us a little bit about herself. And listen, this has been a long, long time coming. I am so excited that we can finally come together and do this. We talked about this years ago, and of course, last year we kind of touched base that we will be doing something together. So I am excited that you are able to join me on this platform. As we know, there is so much needed within our community and the community at large as it relates to mental health. So thank you for accepting uh, the invitation to join me on this platform and tell us a little bit about who Blissant is. Tell us about yourself.
Hi everyone. It's really a pleasure to be on the show. Like we've been saying, been in the works. We've been talking, chatting about, me kind of getting on the show. So I'm excited to finally be here today. I am
Mhm.
Blazing Early, Ines Early, and I'm a social worker by profession. I'm a licensed independent clinical social worker in DC. I have two. I'm married, been married for going on 6 years now. I have two awesome children, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And yeah, they're basically my life. So right now, I work in DC. I work with the Department of Human Services, kind of overseeing permanent supportive housing programs and just working with the homeless population. Um, and I've been doing social work for a long time now. I got my undergrad in social work in
Yay.
2012.
Hmm.
Then I got my master's in social work in 2016. So since then, I've been doing social work. It's very broad. You can do a lot with it. There's lots of um, work. So I just enjoy the work I do. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy supporting people in many different roles. So that's who I am. I'm excited to be here and
So your mic is going in and out a little bit. It's breaking a lot. And so
okay.
I don't know if you can adjust it by coming in or
Let me see. Can you hear me? Is it better? Let me see.
it's a little
Check
better.
my.
Yes.
Let me shift technology. We were just talking and it was fine, and now it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, how?
It sounds good. Let's see if it stays.
Hopefully, I'm not gonna make any moves, no drastic moves.
Yeah. Awesome. So what led you to social
Okay,
work?
so as I was saying, I'm not sure how much we've heard, but I'm a social worker. I work in DC. I've been doing social work for, I'll just say 10-ish years. I have two children. I'm married. I'm excited to just be on the show. I love the work that I do. I love social work. I love helping people, talking to people,
Hmm.
and just supporting people to be the best people, individuals that and families that they.
I lost you there again. So
Let me
tell
see.
me a little bit about what are some things you enjoy doing. I know you said you have two children. What are some things that you enjoy doing with your family?
I enjoy. I know, like as social workers, we always preach self care, self care, self care, and I preach
Mm-hmm.
self care a lot. I can't say that I do those things that I preach, but I
Yeah.
enjoy like walks in the park. I enjoy just like taking my kids places. So we go to DC a lot. Um, we go to the wharf a lot. Places with water. My kids like water. So if there's like a waterfall or something like that, we're there. Aquarium. We haven't been to the zoo yet, but that's on my list for the early
Hmm.
summer. Maybe not so much in the summer when it's too hot, but on the like the early summer. So just exploring the city. I'm doing stuff like that.
You're like me. I like anything water. Anything water, you can find me there. So I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And the zoo, mine, the DC Zoo is so much fun. And I know when they do go, they will be very excited. It's a lot to do there.
Yeah, I know.
So
We're excited about that.
yeah, I was excited when I heard that you were in social work, and I met somebody who is in similar field career paths like me, and I was very excited because of course we don't have that many of us uh, that look like me and you and
Yeah.
Liberians to be able to come into this field and make a difference. So coming from Liberia, we know that social work, psychology, counseling is something that we really don't engage in as a career path. So meeting you and just learning that this is something that you do for a living, it's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to great collaborations in the future. So let's
Same
let's
here.
get
Same.
to it. Let's get to it. We are talking about perseverance today. How can we turn our setbacks into comebacks? Oh, so many of us know that. There are songs about that. We're going to turn our setbacks into comebacks, but it is so true that successful people are the ones that keep going. So tell me a little bit about perseverance and your experience with it, because I know I can talk so much about it.
Yeah. No, this is a good topic. When you share the topic with me, I'm like, okay, this is a good one because I feel like us as just human beings, things are always changing, evolving. Um, they say one step forward, two steps backwards. Things are just changing. We're beings that change a lot, whether it's with our environment, whether it's with our mental health, whether it's our families, jobs. We change, things change, people change. So it's like a way to just, we're going to have to adjust to that. Some people adjust to it in a positive way where it makes them strive for better. And unfortunately, some people don't adjust too well where they end up declining, whether it's their mental health, their physical health. They talk to the community more. So for me, I feel like despite the setbacks that I have had in my life, especially when you have kids, something about when you have children that it helps you to have a reason, like a why. Why am I doing
Mhm.
this? Why do I want to continue doing this? Why do I want to be a better person? It's something about having people looking up to you in that sense, but not anyone just looking up to you. Your children looking up to
Mhm.
you. Something about that, like I feel like it pushes me personally to want to overcome all of my shortcomings or my struggles.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely knowing that why. So when we talk about perseverance and we look at the definition of it, it tells us that perseverance is the ability to keep going, doing something despite the obstacles, despite the challenges, despite the difficulty. It means that having that strong will and determination to overcome obstacles and achieve. Many of us have stories of how far we have been. Look at you with two kids. You went through school, graduated, you were able to matriculate, and then, of course, grow your family in the process. And I too can share my story. But at the end of the day, there are things that we do that keep us going. And there's many research around it as to successful people, what keeps them successful. Uh, it's sometimes you are working on a goal and it seems like it's forever and you're almost there but you're not there, you're kind of stuck, and you kind of remember, the story of Lazarus, and you're like, okay, you find yourself twisting and turning, you're dead, you know uh looking for a miracle, something to kind of get you through, and you keep going, and that's something that gets you through. That is what we're talking about. So when we talk about, again, perseverance, why do you think there are some people who it is easy for them to persevere and go through, and then there are others who struggle when it comes to perseverance?
I think I think a strong support system is important. Um, I think maybe some people have stronger support systems, stronger, and that helps, at least with your mindset. You have
Hmm.
people you can talk to, people you can look up to, people who won't judge you for XYZ reason. Whether it's your family, a family member, or a friend, a teacher. Um, I think some people have those strong relationships and strong supports in their lives that are able to help them get through things. Um, and sometimes I think people are just, I don't know, sometimes people's personalities, it's almost like you've already hit rock bottom. So what else can I do? I just have to keep going forward, keep moving, or else I'm gonna stay at rock bottom.
Hmm.
And truthfully, nobody wants to stay at rock bottom. People want to continue progressing in life. So I think strong support systems and just like that mental strength, like I've already seen the worst. What more can I see? What more can I endure? I want to
Hmm.
be in this situation. So that mental strength definitely, I feel like it helps them to persevere and to just keep going and keep moving.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And as you were speaking on that, it reminded me of Liberia. Let's take it to Liberia a little bit. Let's take it to Liberia, where we see in intense level of poverty. People living in poverty day by day by day. Some of them, like they can say, I can't even find a cup of rice to eat. I can't even find money to buy food for my kids. I cannot find money to send my child to school. But yet and still, that level of resilience, they keep going
Yeah.
and keep pushing through and keep pushing through. And that is another layer of perseverance, that confidence, that level of resilience, that I can push through anything, I can go through anything. And by so doing, they're able to be successful, whether it is through going to a point where they open their little market, and from that market, they're able to send their kids to school. We all hear stories, we've heard stories from our parents, how they had to struggle to get us through. We have stories. We have stories of what we
Yeah.
needed to do, to get through. I remember after I graduated with my second son, I always had the mindset that I was going to go straight through and get my PhD. I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to have children. And then I met my husband, and he had plans of raising a family, and I was like, Lord, this is so much deviation from my plans. Um, but I agreed to marry this man, and now Yeri said he wants a family. So, I have to give him this family that he wants. And I said, but I have to do it and go to school. And I remember having this conversation with my mom, and my mom, God bless her soul, she has been my role model, one of my role models. She has done it. She did it with 7 children. She was able to do it and go to school and raise her children and be a community leader, women's ministry leader for years, a business owner. I mean, she has a school. She's doing all of these things with 7 kids. So for me, the bar was up here. So when I'm now thinking that if my mom can persevere and be persistent and be successful through this, I can do it and I can go through. And so many times people ask me, Quita, how do you do it with 5 kids? And you're still able to do all these things, engage in community leaders, programs, and you're active in the church. My first leadership role was at 19 years old. I will never forget. I was thrown into this youth group where they asked me to be the president of it in the church. And it's like the Boys and Girls Scout. And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't want to be responsible for people's kids. But somebody saw in me that I had leadership skills. So she put me and encouraged me to be this leader. And I knew that once I accepted this, I needed to push through. And the fact that other people were there and I didn't want them to look at me and think ill of me, I persevered through. And so it wasn't easy, but I did. So I look at that first example, and throughout my life, I built on that. And like you rightfully said, your support system, having people around you who, when you want to give up, they remind you of the why. Remember, you said you are going to do this. Remember, you said you're going to get this degree. How come you're off the bandwagon? And it's not shaming you. Sometimes we get so confused when our support systems try to encourage us. Girl, I thought you would be done with school by now. And trust me, Liberian people, we don't have the nicest way to put it, right? Sometimes they would tell you, you've been in school forever. How long this one school would take? And I'm like, you're not paying my school fees. You don't know what it's like to be a mom, a wife, a business owner, and to work full time, and it's difficult. However, we persevere. And so that ability to keep going, even when it means that you have to stay on after you have fallen, is to focus on that girt, right? That part of growing as a person. And guess what? It is not a cognitive skill. Okay.
Yeah,
Many
yeah.
times we use our intelligence. It helps us though, but perseverance is just as important as intelligence. So I would stop and kind of let you, go from there. What are your thoughts on some of the benefits of perseverance?
I think the main benefit is just the fact that you haven't given up yet, or you don't
Mhm.
plan to give up. You could see, like they say, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
Um, all of those, so many benefits. If you have people maybe looking up to you, it's like you're not going to be a failure to your family, to your children, to the people that are watching you. Um, it's like sometimes I think of, and I know I talk about my kids a lot, but sometimes I think of how hard it is raising kids. And
Mm-hmm.
this here has given me like a bigger appreciation for single mothers.
Mm,
So it's like you have people, these children who are watching you, and a lot of these women, the stuff that I complain about, it's like these people are doing
mm-hmm.
it with or little support system, and they're doing it, it's almost like a survival skill, you
Mm-hmm.
have to
Mm-hmm.
do it, you have people watching you, you can't fail. So there's so many benefits, and I think it just kind of strengthens your mental capacity as
Yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you to get over challenges. I don't want to say easier or quicker, but it helps you to just get over challenges in a healthy way. As with, if you don't have that motivation, that perseverance, you may not even want to get over challenges. You may just, like, I don't know, some people fall into substance abuse, drugs, alcohol. It's like, I don't want to do this. They just kind of fall into their own negative mental thought. So
Mm-hmm.
the positives obviously outweigh the negatives of perseverance. Um, I think maybe those people have the ability to set goals, whether it's like short or long term goals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I know. So if there's a task that I want to complete, maybe in the next 2, 3 years, I try to set the smaller goals um, so that I'm able to overcome even like the obstacles that come my way.
Mm-hmm.
So planning while you're striving to reach your goal. Objectives, having small objectives that you're going to take to reach the goal. Those are all like good steps that we can take in order to just continue to persevere. So I think the benefits overall outweigh any negative setback that people may have. Like, it's hard if you're struggling with something. And I don't even like to weigh people's, like, oh, this person's struggling more than this person. If you're struggling, you're struggling, and
Mm-hmm.
you're having trouble to push forward. Having that overall mindset is so helpful. Having a support system is helpful. And talk to people. Sometimes people go through things
Mm-hmm.
and they don't like people about what they're going through. People hold their struggles and their challenges in, and I used to do that a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. If I had some kind of issue I was struggling with, I will hold it in for so long until I can't hold it in anymore, and then I'll just
Mm-hmm.
like explode basically. And that was
Yeah.
such a healthy thing to do for my own mental health. So
Mm-hmm.
um, seeing the benefits of what it's like to persevere, to just move on, to just push past, push through the struggles, push through the challenges is just so vital for us as humans.
Yes, absolutely true. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, seeing yourself a few years back, how you held a lot in. Many times in our Liberian community, because of trust issues, we are afraid to share our struggles with people. Look at case scenario, the story of Sata that is circling around. I'm not sure if you heard about this young lady, and I have been following this story since last year when it came out, when she abused her husband. And we all wrote stuff about it online, how she abused her husband and it was wrong. I even wrote a piece on domestic violence and how men too can be affected and it's wrong. And then the story started to unfold, and we're hearing all of this. But we see this lady perseveres over and over. She comes back on social media. Some may say she's coming for attention, some may say she's mentally ill, but this story has been a cry for help, and she has been persistent. She has been now. We may say that turning to social media might not be the right way to seek help. However, we know this has been something in our Liberian community where people come and they put their business out there. Some people, not everybody. It is not always good because you can invite a lot of negative energy to your situation and even cause more mental issues, because everybody that is coming talk about that support system. Not everybody that is coming with good intentions. So when we put ourselves out there, and somebody like Sata, who she's been in the country since what she said 2019, and so having that support system around her, having genuine friendships that will really be honest with her and try to advise her the right way, whether or not they did and she didn't listen. But this is the exact reasons why many people in the Liberian community hold in their issues. So now more than ever, I am seeing in Liberia, especially, high cases of suicide. We didn't used to have that. So let me fast forward to the US. Since this administration came in place, they have stopped announcing the data as it relates to suicide. But we who are in the field, we get emails, newsletters all of the time. Suicide rate has been at an all-time high, worse than even COVID. We find that people are more depressed than they were a few months, a few weeks ago, years ago. But we are not seeing stories coming online, and people are not saying things because, again, they're holding it in. There aren't many resources out there because financially you cannot afford to. So this would be an example where a person can benefit from perseverance because, hey, look at what I had to go through. I,
Yeah.
despite
Yeah.
all of the obstacles around me, somebody like Sata can say, I was homeless. I didn't have anywhere to be. My husband, put me out. Yes, I abused him. We had some marital issues. However, her outcome, her ending, like we say, happy ending can be, I went out and I sought help. And Sata, if you're listening or somebody that knows you, I hope this is the ending for you. Going to seek help, making sure that whatever is happening there, and sometimes we go through marital issues and it causes mental issues that are situationally
Yes.
based. And I hear all these people who aren't therapists diagnosing this woman, and I'm like, my gosh, where is your license to be diagnosing people? It's a problem because we are so quick to jump on it. This is what's wrong. And we are causing more harm because as social workers and counselors, we take an oath to do no harm.
Exactly.
And that means before I can even tell you what's wrong with you, I need to meet with you and do an assessment
Okay.
and be able to make sure this is really what's happening before I put that on you, that label of a mental illness. So, perseverance, one of the benefits that I see is that by persevering, we boost our self confidence and we boost our self esteem.
Yep.
I can look back and say, look, few years back when I graduated and I started having my children, it wasn't easy. I had to get a job, but I went back to school. I got pregnant while I was getting my master's. I was at Johns Hopkins.
Imagine.
And I had my baby. I gave birth on the 22nd. Nope, the 24th. 24th. My graduation was on the 26th. And
Oh wow.
African mothers, my mom told me, you're not going to be able to walk. I said, I will walk. I work hard for this degree. I'm going to walk. If I
You're
tell you I was swollen, I look at my pictures now and I was like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? And I had on a wedge heel. You couldn't tell me nothing. But all I
oh
knew,
you were
I did. All I knew was that I worked so hard for this thing. I wanted to celebrate it.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
one of the biggest things that people struggle with when it comes to perseverance is we want to look at the final outcome. And it's
Yeah.
a process. I,
Yes.
they forget about the process. I'm going to open this business, and by 2 months, the business should be up running. It's a process, and it
You never
requires
know.
patience,
Yes.
lots of
And what
patience.
then they get discouraged. And like you said, especially for the Liberian community, then it's like, oh, somebody, did this to me, did that to
Yeah,
me. They don't want to see me
that's right.
prosper, knowing that so many businesses fail, that is not even 2 months to start a business is not even maybe for some people it's realistic, but that's not
Mhm.
even there's more. There's more than 2 months that come with something like that, and people don't
Mhm.
even like take that time to understand, like you say, the process. And sometimes it's like unrealistic goals. Some people set unrealistic
Mhm.
goals. I'm going to do this in a week, and then when it doesn't happen, then they get discouraged. So yes, I agree with you
And we see that a
100%.
lot. We see that a lot for those of us that are trying to or want to lose weight. We set these
Hmm.
unrealistic goals. At the beginning of the year, we would set out to lose 50 pounds in 3 months, but we're still eating a little tabagi rice, fufu and
Yes.
soup. I just had fufu and soup. you know, so we're eating our stuff, and then we're like, why can't I lose 10 pounds? Every day we're weighing ourselves, and we are, hey, I'm trying to lose this weight, but I'm not. Or we may walk today, walk an entire week, and stop the next week, and we're not
Yep.
seeing. And we do that. We do that with our friendships. We want our friends to be the one to put in the effort.
Yeah.
Oh, I called her last week, so it's her turn to call me. It's not tit for tat.
It's not. It's not at all.
We do that in our relationships, in our marital relationships, raising children.
Yeah.
We do that at work. So many different types of relationships. We see how the lack of perseverance can be harmful. However, though, on the other hand, we see that there are lots of benefits. And these are the benefits that we want to talk about. So, what would you say to a single mom listening right now who has persevered and done everything? A single mom who is struggling to raise her children by herself. She's doing everything right, but it seems like nothing is working out for her. What would be your advice to her?
As a social worker, we're big on resources. Let's, share our resources with this person. Maybe she doesn't have the resources or she doesn't even know about the resources. So
Mhm.
let's share resources. And you know what? There's pros and cons with all this technology that's around us. But one thing I can say with technologies, even like with TikTok, YouTube, a lot of these social media sites, you can find so many helpful, like, groups, like-minded people, just resources in general to help you go through what you're going through. Like that single mother that's struggling, she might think she's all alone in her struggles, not knowing there's so many other mothers who are going through the same or very similar struggles that she's going through. Maybe the children have some kind of behavioral health concerns. There's groups for that. There's support for that. Maybe she doesn't have a job. There's lots of resources for maybe resume building, just job searches, just different jobs. Maybe she needs a place to stay. There's so many resources for that as well. So it's hard to ask for help, but if there is a single mom listening and you're struggling with life in general, you can ask for help. Um, I think more people are willing to than not. Um,
I believe it. I think many times we're afraid to ask because we're afraid of being judged. We are afraid
exactly.
of people's opinions, what they're going to say. And I always go back to our community, our Liberian community, because this is the community we find ourselves in majority of the time. And I go back to that because many people in our community have made it so difficult for others to seek help. The minute you call B and say, "Hey B, I'm having some financial difficulties. My husband lost his job and I'm not working, and we don't have money to pay the rent or the mortgage, whatever you can help with." The minute B send me money, she's taking Snapchat shot pictures and sending it over to her friend. Guess who just called me, and guess what? They're suffering over there. And so that confidentiality, the Bible says what? Something about don't let your left hand know what your right hand do. Not every time we help people, we need to put it on social media.
Exactly.
Not everything we do as it relates to helping this person overcome situations the world needs to know or our close friends need to know. But I want to piggyback on something you said, which was, and I'm going to pull from what you said when you were saying about that mom who may have a child who is challenged. So we know that April is set aside to celebrate autism awareness. And there are many, many, many families in the Liberian community struggling with children who are on the spectrum. Again, there is lack of resources and education around autism in our Liberian community. In Liberia, it is not a huge awareness. I used to hear people say that child got Gina.
Mm-hmm.
When the child can't talk, the child can't speak, they look at the child, they don't know that this is actually a mental issue. They say, oh, that child has wish.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember going to my father's home. There was a guy there who they used to sit and actually display him out, and he had a lot of physical defects that you could tell he looks a bit scary for a child. And so the parents will put him on the road and they will beg for money. But the backstories is that this man is making wish, and if you don't give him money, exactly, if you don't give him money, you pass by him and you don't give, something bad will happen to you. He couldn't talk, he couldn't speak, he couldn't make eye contact. What we now know as the classic signs of autism is what he had, and many others. We can think about our friends, neighbors, we can think about people in the churches that back home they struggle with autism. We know people right now in the Liberian community who are embarrassed to speak on it. All of their friends know that there's something wrong with that child, but they're just not going to tell you because they don't trust you. They don't trust that you're
Exactly.
going to keep that. They don't trust that you are a safe place. So when you say find your people, and I want to speak to that mom who's out there, that dad who's out there struggling with a child who's on the spectrum, who is persistent over and over getting the support that child needs. It is not easy, but yet it's still to push through. And these families, as you know, bless them, they go through a lot
Mm-hmm.
in and out of services, but they persevere on and on and on. And that is an excellent example. As you were saying that, I wanted to come back to that and just to, share a little light on that, especially since this month is set aside for autism.
Yes.
So yes, go ahead. Anything you wanted to add?
Say that was good. That was definitely a good awareness to put out there. Um, and just for people, let's say just for the people listening who maybe you don't have the best reputation of being a trustful person or a good friend. I don't always think people have, I like to see the good in people. Let me say that. I don't always think people have um what am I trying to say? I don't think people are always thinking like, let me do that to hurt this
Yeah,
person,
bad
but
intentions.
actually bad intentions. But at the end of the day, what you did hurt the person.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, just before y'all go out and start spreading stuff about people, just put yourself in their shoes. We call that empathy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how would you feel? Because I'm sure that same person that's doing that to this struggling mother has had a similar situation happen to them. We're all humans. We all have these like human experiences. So why not remember that time that, oh, this person spread a rumor about me and I didn't like that. I didn't like how
Mm-hmm.
that made me. Think about it for the same person that you're going and spreading those same rumors about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we need to try to be good people down to our core, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You that that person that could make or break somebody. You don't know what your actions, your words, your gossip are doing mentally to somebody. You could be
Mm-hmm.
that main person because of what you specifically did. That person, do something. We were talking about suicide earlier, could hurt themselves, hurt other people, just because of that situation that happened. So, I mean, I want to encourage people to just be good people because
Mm-hmm.
we all people in life. We need each other. We need our social support system. Um, so just be that person that people can trust, people can count on, and people can look up to, and just be genuine about it. So many times, so many people aren't so genuine with their friendships, and I think a lot of us have experienced that. So just, I mean, just look at yourself. If somebody tells you something about their child, struggles about their child, hold that confidential. Go spreading it unless you're trying to help. If you're trying to go talk to somebody who has resources that can help, go ahead and do that. But don't spread it just for no purpose other than gossiping or the rumors.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying that. It's funny that you mentioned be a good person. And blessing, so many people um are focused on being nice instead of being a good person. Being a good person goes beyond being nice. Being nice is not consistency because you can be nice today and tomorrow you are not nice. Or you may appear to be nice to somebody today and tomorrow they may see you as not being nice. So let's focus on being a good person. When we are good people from inside, we really do consider other people. We consider what would happen if this was my situation. If I was that single mother, if I was that couple who is struggling in their relationship, would I want my business spread on social media? Would I want you telling all of your friends that me and my husband are having issues? My husband cheated on me? Many, many times we don't see the importance of that, right? And so we have to understand that when we say find your people, this is so important and it's an important aspect of perseverance. Your people will push you to the finish line.
Yes.
Your people are not those ones that are making fun of you. They are not those ones that are gossiping about you. In the struggle, and I was actually listening to this book, and there was a lady there who was sharing her story, and she stated that she had uh, a long history with substance abuse, and she was a successful lawyer running a family, well-to-do family, and all of that, recognized highly in her community, yet and still at home she was a functioning alcoholic. And then she took it a step further and started using drugs. And the minute she went out and started telling her girlfriend group about her struggle, they started to pull away. They started pulling away because she didn't look like them anymore. She was having too many issues where she was looking drunk, she was unkept, she looked different, she was not that bougie friend that they wanted and they desired to be in their circle. She was different now. And so they now started to treat her differently. And she said that she saw on social media they had a girl strip and she wasn't invited. And it broke her. She said it broke her so much because she was almost at rock bottom.
Mm.
And here is a friend group where they kind of raised their kids together. They grew up together because as women, we have different chapters. We know friends come and go, but there are some friends that stays with us for a long time. And these were the people she was expecting to push her through this time. And she said, as she was digging in the bottle, digging in the bottle, her neighbor who moved down the block from her a few months ago saw her and said, "Hello, how you doing?" Brought in some goodies, and she could smell the alcohol on her. She said she was so embarrassed she ran away. The lady kept on coming and she ran away. And after a while, she didn't see her. The lady came up to her house, brought everything that she could bring, sat on the floor, and said, "What do you need?
Wow, that's so
How can
powerful.
I help you?" Yes. And I said, "Where are these friends?"
Yeah.
Right? Where are these friends?
It's the people you least expect, the people who don't even look like you, who you probably don't
Yeah.
have in common with. Those are the people. Yeah, we gotta figure out our circles and find good supportive
Yeah.
people in our circles. I agree with that. Wow, that's a powerful story. All the
It
people
really is.
people in her lives, they all ran away when she was struggling the most. Can you imagine? That's so sad.
Yeah. Because we want to take and we don't
Mm,
realize that sometimes the givers, when they are in that position, where are the takers?
yeah.
And this woman came and pushed her through. And it was because of that lady. And she said her family, she was able to go through detox and seek help
Wow.
and got back on track. And here is the interesting part about it. She said, those friends, I didn't stop being friends with them. She
Ah.
said, I took a break, but I came back. I called them.
Hmm.
I reached out. I repaired the relationship. Now that's a tough one because I don't know how many of us would want to do that.
So bit speechless.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So,
the same
yeah,
at all. I don't think after someone has hurt me so deep like that and just kind of
yeah,
abandoned when I needed them the most, I don't think I'm not saying I can't forgive them, but to go
mhm,
back to reach out and go back to
yeah,
where we were, I wouldn't be able to trust them again.
yeah.
So that strength on her part, that was a
That's strength. That is a huge strength. So when we think about the benefits of perseverance and why it is so important to keep going, even when you have stumbled and fell, tried and tried everything, and nothing seemed to work, and you keep going and pushing through, the end result is really what we have been working hard, patiently for. And going back to not focusing on the end.
yeah,
If you focus on those failures of why I shouldn't do this, because the last time I tried this, I failed. Recognizing the capacity that you have. I can only do but so much and take it in steps.
yeah, yeah,
What do I have the power to do? And so as I journey on, what do I hope to do? How can I persist and persevere? How can I allow this goal to manifest? Many times we don't allow the manifestation part and we give
mm,
up.
yeah.
So
That's
let's talk to that person who has had numerous setbacks, right?
true.
And let's put it in the context of Liberia, because I know I have some folks there listening and around the world. But what would you say to an individual who is struggling, has been discouraged? How do you press forward despite discouragements and sometimes from your own family?
Yeah. That's a tough one, especially when it comes from your own family. That's tough. Um, I like looking at and hearing about people's success stories. So even if it's small successes in your eyes, it's still a success. It could be a big success in that person's. So look at what God has done for other people and know that God can also do it for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's so easy. It's easy to give up. It really is, but it takes so much
It is.
hard work. It's hard work to keep pushing. It's really, really hard work, and I think we all can empathize and identify with that. It's really hard work when you don't want to go, when it's easy to give up. It's easy for you to sit home when it's
Your
easy.
mic is in and out again.
Okay, it's easier to just. Is it better?
Yeah,
Is it getting
it's
okay?
getting
It's
better.
easy. Nothing. It's easy to just like people fall into depression so easily because it's easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a strange thing to say, but depression is tough to go through. But it's so easy for people to fall into depression and fall into just that discouragement, hopelessness,
Mm-hmm.
those feelings. Um, if you allow them to come in, they can overtake you so easily and overcome your whole existence. So I think hearing stories about what people have done to push through is helpful because even hearing people's stories, there might be bits of their stories that you haven't tried for yourself. So it's like, oh, that person did X, Y, Z. I didn't even think of doing that. Let me try this as well and see if it'll work for me also. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important to hear stories and um, I would say, like you said, we want to be super focused and that we lose sight of the steps that we have to take, but definitely overall goals, set those steps to reach the goals. Whether you're writing it down, write it on paper, or you have it typed on your phone, just like those steps that you need to take to that goal, do it. People do affirmations in the morning to start the day. Change your mindset. Start your day with something positive.
I'm losing you again a bit.
Start your day with something positive. Start your day with affirmations. End your day with affirmations. End your day with prayer. We have to be intentional about how we start our days and how we end our days. Because starting your day, that goes into what your day is going to be like. How you end your day, that goes into the positive things that you can look about um, setting the tone for the day. I think those things
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
And just having strong supports around you, like-minded people around you, and somebody who you can trust. Don't go thinking you can trust the whole world, but at least if you have one person um, that you know you can trust, you can like start from there. Because even that person could help you as well, help you set a plan for achieving your goals, and just help you listen, help you vent. If you need like ears for you to vent to, that's also important as well.
mm-hmm. Absolutely. And as you rightfully said, we setting the goals, making sure that we are able to reach those goals. And as it relates to family members, I wanted to piggyback on it. There may be somebody listening to us right now who can relate and who need to relate to this and to be able to push through. There's somebody right now who's listening and is saying, I am having difficulty pushing through past these challenges. I need to proceed as where and where I am and what I am doing. I don't finish what I'm doing. I start something, whether it is starting school or starting a business, and I have difficulties finishing. There are people who struggle, and we talked about challenges and difficulty to do anything in their lives. So, whether it is around wellness, vocation, whether it is around your gifts, your relationships, your calling, achieve whatever it is that you aspire to achieve. There are people that are struggling. They will not follow through. But here is one thing I want to remind you: nothing worth achieving is without a struggle. It is not easy. If success was easy, so many people would be running out here billionaires. So, and the reality is that it takes time. So, nothing worth achieving is without struggle, and it takes time. So, the moment that you start to think that is not going to manifest, that's when it starts to manifest. And we likely sometimes forget to add God to the mix. And we will say, oh, it's going to be great. I envision this. But there is another piece of this in order to be successful. We need to move away from the dreaming and actually come and step into the manifestation. There is nothing wrong with the dreams. That's where we have an idea. We write it down on paper. I want to write a book, and you start dreaming about this book, and you have great ideas. That's all of that. You envision all of that. That's excellent. That's great. Now let's move the next step to where the work is, which is manifestation to the fullness of it. And this, my dear, requires purpose, requires perseverance. It requires you to keep going. So we have come to the end. I have about 3 minutes left. But this has been awesome, just talking about how we can turn our setbacks into comebacks. And we talked about some of the benefits of perseverance. We talk about how important it is to keep going. The studies that have shown, actually, I can mention Angela Lee Duckworth's research on having GERD, and how it's so important to identify that perseverance may be just as important as intelligence in determining your success. So it's important that you keep going if you want to be successful. It requires consistency. It requires that you show up every day, even if you don't want to. You continue to go. It requires that resiliency. And like we said, it's definitely going to build that self esteem and improve your self confidence. So I will give you a few minutes to give your final words and thoughts.
Yes, I agree with everything that you said. Just to piggyback off of it, and I am getting word that my sound is in and out, and I want to apologize to everyone about that. This conference room that I'm in, and I guess the signal isn't too strong in the room. So next time I'll find a better location, and the sound
Mhm.
will be a lot better. So thank you all for bearing with me and the spotty sound, but I'm gonna persevere on with the
that's the spirit.
true for next time. But yes, I just encouraging you all to continue, like Dr. Quita was saying. Um, let's do the action of it. The dreaming is good. It's good to have dreams, but we have to be action focused as well. What can I physically do today to get to where I want to be in the future? What's
Mhm.
physical can I take today? So let's be mindful of that and be realistic about the objectives and the steps that we need to take to get to those goals.
Mhm. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And it has been a pleasure having you on as a co host. I am looking forward to many, many great episodes ahead of us, working together and just serving our community as we do day by day, being service providers. This is what we do. So it is a pleasure to come on together and join our voices as we share light on a lot of these things in the community. So our topic today was perseverance. How the question for you now is how can you persevere, right? You have heard a lot. You have receive lots of tips. What is going to help you to keep going? What is the first thing that you need to remember is your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to achieve this goal? Why do you have this in mind? Where are you going with this? Right? What is your purpose? Where is your plan? What are your intentions? Is it worth it? These are all questions to ask yourself. Why are you persistent? I know many times we want to look at the end. I'm going through nursing school so that I can make more money, but through the process, it's frustrating, it's hard, it's difficult. So, the important thing is that when you recognize the significance of those goals that you have and mobilize your plan, the most successful that you will be. Stick to it. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Gather your people, those that can push you through, not gossiping about you, not, bad mouthing you. If you stumble, you take a year or two off your goal, you need those people who are going to show up and say, hey, guess what? Girl, you got to keep going. This is important. It's worth it when you're done, and they mean it. So that support system is very important as well. I thank you all for joining. I am Dr. Quita Weir Roberts. Join us on the Friendly Counselor and my co host next week. Hopefully, we will be back with another exciting topic. Please share this live. If you have not followed me, do so on the Friendly Counselor on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as if you do know of anybody that need mental health services, visit my website, morethanmecounseling.org, morethanmecounseling.org. B, do you have anything to share?
No, everything that you said was it. If you all are struggling with any mental health, reach out. Feel free to reach out to either one of us for ways to connect you to the services that you do need.
Okay. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.